Kim Driscoll, currently the mayor of Salem and candidate for lieutenant governor, is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. She won the endorsement at the recent Democratic State Convention. So will that translate into votes for the state's second highest office? With the 2022 campaign ramping up, the candidate is here. Let's go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Woods. Great to have you with us this morning on the record, and we're pleased to have Salem Mayor Kim Driscoll with us. She is now a candidate for lieutenant governor, as you just said, on the Democratic ticket. She took office as mayor back in 2006 in Salem, and before that, she served as deputy city manager of Chelsea. She holds degrees from Salem State University and the Massachusetts School of Law. It's wonderful to have you with us, Mayor Driscoll. Great to see you.
Great to be with you. Temperature's a little bit lower here than it was at the convention center a couple
Definitely.
of weeks ago, right? So the Supreme Court, I want to talk about an issue that a lot of people are thinking about right now. The Supreme Court is expected to issue rulings any day now on some very controversial issues. One of them is gun laws. If the High Court rules against laws restricting carrying guns in public, it could very well invalidate the Massachusetts restrictive concealed carry law. If you're elected lieutenant governor, what would you do?
You know, I think Massachusetts has proven that our gun laws are working. We have lower incidents of violence. Anything that we can do to keep those in place, we have to see what the decision actually comes out and allows and enables. For a Supreme Court that really represents state rights, I hope we'll be in a position to continue taking our state laws and putting them into play here. We know that they've resulted in less gun violence, that we know that less gun ownership here, and we want to be able to do everything we can to support and continue in that trend.
Are you sort of like holding on, waiting for these decisions on a lot of matters that will affect our state laws?
I mean, I feel fortunate to live in Massachusetts. I do feel like we've been a beacon, whether it's on abortion rights and certainly on gun control and making sure that we're being thoughtful around that. And we know these issues work. We need to look at the actual language to understand what actions and steps can we take at the state level. But I think there's a strong consensus that we don't want to go backwards in our communities. We want to keep moving forward in the direction we're at. So I'd be prepared to act to take whatever steps are necessary to maintain the current level of support we have for gun control, for abortion rights. And if anything, we're going to need to work harder to ensure access to abortion from other states, women from other states coming to Massachusetts.
And as well as voting rights, is true.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about something that affects everyone that is watching right now, the price of gas. I was in San Francisco recently, and in the city of San Francisco, it's over $7 a gallon. There's a place in Mendocino, California, it's almost $10 a gallon for regular gasoline. So there's a big debate right now at the State House here in Massachusetts over taxes. With the prices here in Massachusetts averaging over $5 a gallon, should the state, yes or no, should the state's gas tax be suspended?
You know, I think all options need to be on the table. I am in a gateway community. Over 50% of renters in Salem are paying more than 30% of their income for housing. We're already a high-cost state. My 19-year-old is back home from college. The price of groceries through the roof. As a community that saw incredible increases in access to food pantries during the pandemic, when we had 18% unemployment, we're almost back there again, but now we have 3% unemployment. People are hurting. We need strategies coming out of cities, out of state government to support those who are finding it harder to make ends meet. That means potentially looking at gas tax. How about supporting public transportation, making that cheaper? It's $9 to take the commuter rail from Salem into Boston. So I think there's a number of strategies, reducing early child care costs. The question is certainly on gas. It's $5. It's closer to $7 if you're talking about diesel.
Right,
so
exactly.
That should be on the table. Options to also make it cheaper to get people around.
And which is a wonderful answer, but is it yes or no on the gas? Where do you sit on suspending the gas tax first?
I would definitely be open to it.
You'd be open to it. What about permanently?
Short term.
And then permanent is out.
I think short term, and let's see what happens. I mean, gas prices are higher, and we ought to be really, reaching out to these large fuel companies because they're not reducing their profits as these prices go up.
As you know, Governor Baker is proposing some cuts in some permanent taxes. Are you on board with any of them, either the ones for the folks at the lower level of income as well people at the higher end of the income scale?
Yeah, I definitely think we need to look at the estate tax at $1 million, knowing what's happening with real estate prices. And so many folks who have worked hard their whole lives were in communities that were, frankly, affordable housing, affordable communities, and now they're seeing their housing prices exceed those sorts of numbers. That's at least one that I think deserves merit for us to take a look at. And I think there may be some others. The earned income tax credit increases, making sure folks who are on the lower economic spectrum are are paying less taxes as a means to return money to people's pockets. I look forward to seeing what comes out of the legislature as they take this issue
The
up.
next item I want to talk about is undocumented residents across the state. The legislature this week overrode the governor's veto of a bill which gave undocumented residents access to driver's license. So who's right here? Is the governor or legislators? Who's right?
100% on board with legislators. I've been a strong supporter of making sure our immigrants in our communities, those who are undocumented, have access to driver's licenses. And access to a driver's license is an access to education, to medical appointments, to going to the grocery store without fear. I'm grateful this finally was adopted, and I want to congratulate the legislators who supported it.
But it doesn't go into effect for a year, which means the next administration it will be in place when it happens.
Fantastic. And if we could do anything to expedite putting it into play, it's meaningful. I'm a city that's a city of immigrants. 400 years, waves of immigrants coming to our community. You need to have access to a driver's license to get to work, to get to doctor's appointments, to do basic functions often. And it's important that we have.
Is Governor Baker right? Is Governor Baker?
Are you worried about voter fraud
We
at all?
have folks who have green cards who are right now have driver's licenses. We found a way to differentiate to make sure we don't have folks voting, and I think we can do it again.
During the pandemic, school lunches were made free for all students nationwide. It expires this month. The Massachusetts legislators are likely, they haven't done it yet, but are likely to extend it for another year here, but it costs $100 million, which is a big chunk, even though we have a lot of money in our state coffers right now. It's not going to be forever because a lot of this is pandemic money that was, is a one-time thing. So should it be permanent? Should we offer free school lunches to everyone in the state of Massachusetts permanently?
Yeah, absolutely. Salem actually has free universal breakfast and lunch. We know that it's key to our students being in a position to be able to learn most effectively. Massachusetts should be a food secure state. There's no reason we shouldn't be. The fact that we have families lined up at food pantries, many of whom are working 1 or 2 jobs, talks about the high cost of living here and what can we do to impact that. Making sure kids are eating breakfast and lunch in schools. One, it certainly helps them academically, but it's also a way to socialize those programs. When people are eating together, we have community meals. We expand food operations in my community because we know it brings people together. It certainly addresses hunger, and nobody wants to live in a state where kids don't have access to high quality nutritional meals, and that's what's happening in our schools. That's a role that many of our schools, particularly in gateway cities, are playing now.
I want to talk the next item about the MBTA. It has been rife with problems for decades. Lately, it's become near intolerable, even with lots of money that's being pumped into the system. I know the T has chewed up and spit out a lot of administrators before. What is your plan for fixing it?
I don't think the lieutenant governor necessarily is in charge of public transit, but clearly we need to be continuing the investments we're making to maintain the system. We're seeing years of neglect in terms of spending to support public transit, and I say that as a city that has the highest commuter rail stop in the highest ridership in the MBTA system, comes out of Salem. I also, as a community leader, we purchased our own ferry. We have other ways to get people around back and forth between Boston. We're also looking at rideshare and card share services. When we talk about public transit, it doesn't all begin and end with the MBTA. Across this Commonwealth, there are regional transit authorities. Many people don't need to go back and forth to Boston. They need to be able to get around their own community and adjacent communities. There's been a bit of an inspiration gap. I think we have more work to do to support transportation initiatives, public transportation, if we want to reduce single occupancy vehicles. That will not only help us with transportation options, but help us with climate change impacts and hopefully put us in a position to support more housing. That is one of the biggest needs I'm hearing about, is individuals who cannot afford to live here because of the high cost of housing. We need more of it, and we need to make sure we're not attracting more cars when we're supporting growth of housing in our communities.
As you know, the new mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, is calling for free fares on Boston trains and buses. Do you support that? Do you think that's possible, and should the rest of the state sort of support them on that?
Yeah, I really want to make sure that we're not having unintended consequences of having free fares means then we can't invest in the transportation system that we need to. I think lowering fares to ensure it's not a barrier for access is key. It costs $9 one way to take the commuter rail from Salem into Boston. Too high. We need to reduce those numbers to make it affordable, and this is a perfect time to do it. With gas prices being so high, how do we incentivize making public transportation available to everyone? And so for some people it should be free, but not for all. There's a means-tested system that we can put in place for public transportation that would enhance it. But most important is the quality. Having free access to a system that's not working very well doesn't sound like a good deal to me. Let's make sure we're pumping money into this system to support a safe system, most importantly, and I think there are real struggles and concerns about that, something that's reliable and that takes you where you need to go when you need to get there. So embracing technology, finding ways to make sure that it's real service, not just operating buses empty.
So in other words, put money into the system before you start taking money out.
That's exactly right. But we can still reduce fares. I want to be clear. There are a lot of folks who can't afford to pay prices for commuter rail, for subways, for buses. There's a means-tested system. Lots of cities have it. This is not a new or novel idea. Reduce the fares for people who are at the lower end of our economic spectrum.